Smell that? 110% financing, baby.
It's never stopping. We're going to the top, baby. Yeah!
Turns out 110% financing is a bit too much.
Who would have thought?
Not me.
We are so back, man.
Rental arbitrage, baby.
It's the way to go. Refi till you die.
Oh, this leverage is amazing.
Who needs equity? This elevator ain't stopping.
All the way up. All the way up. Oh.
Hello? We just made another $1 million.
Ooh, leverage!
Jackpot! Dude, come on, man. I got a headache. Sheesh.
99-cent tacos.
I don't think we got 99 cents, bruh.
I got enough change for two. One for me, one for you.
I don't know. How did we end up here?
Leverage. Oh, no gas.
Let's just walk, man.
Don't be like these numbnuts. Over-leveraging is not your friend.
Keep riding with the homeboys. Hey everybody, you're kicking it with the Homeboys on the Homeboys podcast. We thank you for joining us today. We got a very exciting topic. We are talking about real estate being cyclical. Due to contrary belief, it's not always just going up, and away. My name is Clint Wetherill. As always, I'm here with my buddy, Mr. Scott Adams.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun talking about how history is such a great indicator of what the future can be. Talk a little bit about how short people's memories are. When we're in one of these cycles, they tend to forget that it can go the other direction. And then last, let's share with some folks some tips that they can use, how they can use all this good information to benefit themselves. So, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I've missed you.
Yeah.
You've been out.
I have.
You've been sick.
Yeah, I thought it was a cold.
Sicky poo.
Tested positive for the old flu. I'm on day 3 of medicine now, so I feel pretty good. Still, excuse me in advance, everybody, if I cough, sucking on some cough drops, but otherwise, it's good to be back.
You've lost a few lbs through this whole process.
That's the best part of it.
And we're going to start writing a weight loss book. Just get the flu.
Just get the flu.
And then you won't want to eat. You won't hold anything down, and you drop the weight.
My youngest came home from college, let's see, a week and a half ago now, and I was telling her how excited I was about losing this weight, and she goes, "That's literally sick. It's literally sick."
It technically is. Yeah. You know, I know that you don't have a long-term problem with that because I sat across too many meals.
Yeah.
You know, from you. So
I love a meal.
I know exactly where your heart is when it comes to eating, but it's been quiet in here. You know, the office has been a little bit more quiet. We've missed a few days of recording, you know, our stuff. Man, it's good to have you back.
It's good to be back. We were just talking about how much we love doing this, you know, and sharing good information. And this is a real interesting topic, too. This is really, really hot topic right now because everywhere you look on all these social media sites, everybody's talking about how hot real estate is, and you buy, and you leverage, and you know, they're forgetting their history. They are forgetting their history.
You know, I think a lot of it is to do with, you know, our generation. You know, just so people that don't know, we were in our mid-40s. We didn't grow up with social media, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you know, all that stuff. I had to think about what
Facey Space.
You know, Happy Match, Facey Space. You know.
Facey Space.
But, you know, we see so much, you know, content out there across these platforms. And I think a lot of it is posted by people that probably haven't been through, a real estate cycle. But it dominates social media platforms. So it's like this whole wave of thinking that has come in. Very few times that I log into anything on social media do I hear anybody talking about what if it's not this, constant ride up in real estate or the market in general. I think that there's not a lot of wisdom. And when I say wisdom, a lot of times wisdom comes from people that have been there, done that, that have been up the block a few times, that, have lived through, good times and bad times. It just seems like there's not a lot of wisdom, out there. So, I know whenever I need wisdom, I just turn to Scott Adams. Yeah. So, I feel like, it's I'm sitting in a good spot to be a sponge, and I joke about that, but I do mean that. You're a very smart guy, and I think you tell people in a good way, but at the same time you level with people and let them know like the dangers of it. And I don't know. It's I think it's easy for people to forget that real estate is cyclical, that you do see the ups and downs, because we have been, take for example, our producer behind the camera here. The last time, real estate was bad, he was, like 11 years old.
Right. That's true. There's a whole generation that missed.
So they don't know. I was relatively young in my career when the recession, started. I was, I guess I wasn't. I guess I was literally 7 years in.
Right.
But I know how young and naive I was during the Great Recession. We're in a time like that now where people just think, oh, this is how real estate is. It's just going to continue to go up. There's always going to be more demand than there is supply. And, I was thinking that, in 05, 06, we didn't see the run up that we've seen now. But, I also was sitting there when it was literally impossible to sell a house.
Right. Yeah. People who have lived through multiple cycles, whether it's in the stock market or any economic situation, it's nice to sit back and listen to them and the wisdom that comes from them. And you and I are lucky enough to have a couple of people that are in our lives, more than a couple, that have lived through even more cycles than us, who are kind enough to really care about our careers and help advise us as well. But just you and I have been through a few cycles on ourselves, and I think people have forgotten that the 2008 bubble that burst, the run-up wasn't even this strong. It wasn't even close to this hot leading up to it before it burst. So it's an unusual time, and every market is different. There are so many factors that are different now than what happened in 2008. However, there's a couple of things going on that people should be very wary about right now, which is there's inflation, and the Fed is actively, admittedly, doing everything they can to throw a bucket of ice water on the economy. Admittedly, this isn't like some secret. They are trying to cool the economy in order to tail inflation. And so you have to beware that it doesn't take much for things to flip, especially when it comes to the real estate and stock market and the economy. So I think part of the problem is the reason that this message isn't being said out there as much is it's not fun to say, it's not fun to hear. Nobody wants to be Debbie Downer, nobody wants to be that. Instead, everyone wants to talk about ways that you can get rich and ride this wave up and all the fun things. So keep in mind, we are believers in investing in real estate. However, we are realists. We base this on history. We look at the reality of what it can do. We look at what it can go negative, and then we come up with a plan that still works. So we're not just fear-mongering and saying, oh, we're all screwed. You can't buy real estate,
Well, no, your first topic is history. It's not fear mongering when you are basing what you're speaking on factual history.
Right.
We're not making anything up. I mean, if you look at at what has happened in the stock market, real estate, everything, it is cyclical. We watched during the Great Recession. California. Real estate prices got cut in half.
Right.
We didn't quite see that here in the Midwest, but literally it cut in half. And those are facts. We've seen the charts on it. So I think that it's important for real estate investors, stock market investors, whatever you're investing in, is to look backwards, because it will paint a picture. Yes, if you're in it for a very long time, which we preach long-term investing, you should be okay. If you look at historical data, time in market means a lot. But right now, I think everyone just thinks that this is going to continue. I hear people all the time saying, don't think, buy.
Right.
It's not about the number of assets, the quality of assets you have. It's about the number of assets. You don't need any equity in your house. Refi till you die. All of these things. What happens if you take all of that advice and 2008, 9, and 10 happen?
What if 1/10 of 2008 happens? What one quarter, just a quarter of it,
Correct.
happens, which is a every 10-year type of event. Mm-hmm. It's just an every 10-year type of event. And if you are leveraged the way that TikTok is claiming people should be leveraged, you're screwed. Mm-hmm. You're screwed, because what can happen is you're over leveraged on your property suddenly. It's meaning you owe more than you can sell it for. Your stock and your savings portfolio has dropped too, so you don't want to liquidate that for cash. And jobs change, so suddenly you may have a situation where you need to move from say Florida to Portland. Well, your house is suddenly upside down, and in order to sell it, you're gonna have to take losses on all your retirement savings or your investments by selling when the market's down in order to make that up. You want to talk about a snowball that can just cause people to go bankrupt. That's how it starts. That's how it starts.
And I think it's what upsets me the most by so much of the things that you see on social media is it's the people that are listening are the people that are looking to do something new, to try to get ahead. Generally, the people that are like super successful, and have multiple income streams and have a nest egg, they're not the people that are listening to this advice, because they don't need to. They've done it on their own, and they're gonna continue to do it on their own. But instead, you're getting people that are trying to get ahead, and they listen to these gurus that say, if you have any cash on hand, you're an idiot. We just watched a clip just a second ago. Some a very prominent guy calling out anyone that keeps any cash. And I'm not talking about physical cash. I'm talking about savings, different things.
Right.
Calling them an idiot. So someone that has $10,000 saved up to their names, and they listen to these gurus that they're getting paid with their books and their speaking engagements and all of this, and they think, oh well, I'm silly for having this reserve account.
Right.
So I'm gonna get rid of this and get into something, and my personal opinion is, the market is exceptionally high right now, and we've seen a little bit of pullback here lately, like in the S&P and Bitcoin and all, and some of the crypto and all that stuff. But I don't know. I think that a lot of the advice, especially when looking at real estate investing, is just simply dangerous. It's dangerous.
Everyone is trying to take things right to the edge, and it's a really weird behavior. We see it usually after long, successful, long-term ups in the market. You see this behavior where truly the world forgets that things can go wrong, and so over leveraging and taking things right to the edge only works in an up market. It does not work in reality, because in reality, there is no such thing as an up market. Markets are cyclical, period. It is just a fact. They're cyclical. They go up, flat, down. They don't just go one direction. And so all of this advice that's being pitched out there is taking people to the edge. And when there is a pullback, there is going to be a lot of people who are hurt by this advice. And the worst part is the people who are going to be the most hurt by the advice are middle Americans, are normal middle to middle upper income people who have listened to this, trying to get from middle upper to the riches. And it's sad that this stuff sells so much. Now, we're not all negative. Cycle, you can forget, that things go up and down. There's ways to make money through all of this while not having to be right on the edge. You don't have to be on the edge. You don't have to be stupid. You can do it conservatively and get to where you want to be. That's the worst part, is there's no reason to act this way.
So, just kind of hitting this home, part of what you're saying is that since we've been on this elevator ride, for over a decade, the people have forgotten, what bad times are like.
Correct.
I would also say, well, first of all, I'd say that is true. I would also say that a lot of what you see, is people that just don't know because they've not lived, through a cycle.
That's true.
But, you couple both of those together. And, I don't know, it frustrates me because, you and I have talked about it on here before, how generally the public doesn't like to see other people successful. And you and I have never been like that. We've always, I love seeing people succeed. I love seeing hard work, pay off. And
we celebrate it.
We celebrate it all the time.
Openly, yeah.
So I'm scared of what all of these bad moves are going to mean to so many people, in a very short period of time. In my opinion, we watched a clip. We do more on real estate, and on more on real estate, there was a guy talking about how 2023 is going to be a long recession year.
Right.
And the guy's had a lot of intelligent points. It was really, really, really sharp.
He's clearly been in the market, both real estate and investing in the stock market for over 20 years. He was just an intelligent guy. And he's saying what just about anybody I know that's been around a long time and has been an investor, whether it's real estate or in the stock markets or whatever, is saying, which is great. The run-ups are great, good for everybody. Mm-hmm. We love it. However, it's cyclical. It doesn't last. It goes down, it goes up, and you have to have a strategy to survive all of that. And it's real simple, those strategies. But you can't let your memory fade, or you can't, if you're new to investing, you're in your 20s, you just have to look at history and be aware that the market is what the market is, and the market is going to do what the market is going to do, which is it's going to go up and down. It's not up.
And you're not necessarily saying don't do anything, just stay on the sidelines.
Not at all.
Right.
The opposite, in fact. There's always value that can be found in any market. You and I are very blessed in the fact that we believe in evolve or die. We do not sit still during market changes. We don't sit still during up markets. We throw stuff against the wall. Our philosophy, yours and my philosophy, and I have to admit, when I first met you decades ago, I was really impressed with the way that you had adapted when 2008 happened. There was maybe two other people in the market in our area that I saw adapt, and you adapted further and faster than they did, and it was really neat to see. So I learned a lot of it from you, watching you adapt. And I think you should quickly share kind of your story, what you did when 2008 happened, what you were doing before, what happened in 2008, how you adapted. And that can be an example.
I think that's good. I mean, we want to drive home how can someone use the knowledge of this market being cyclical, to their advantage. So, part of my story is basically that I was just an idiot. I didn't know any better. I didn't pay attention to real estate being cyclical at that time.
Right.
The one thing that worked out for me was evolve or die, like you just said. And I think that a real estate investor always has to be on their toes to pivot, because if you're going to say, I'm only doing this and this is all I'm going to do for my entire career, most likely it's not going to end up well for you. You have to adapt to the market. So
100% true.
Right. So I wanted to flip houses, shortly after college. So I went into flipping houses and was relatively successful at it. It's not something you see on TV, flip this house, all that stuff. I mean, that's complete BS. That's not how the real world works. If you love those shows, enjoy watching those shows, that's fine. But just realize that's not how it is. But anyhow, relatively successful. I got called a dozen clients that were interested as well, and they wanted me to help them achieve the same thing that I was doing. So I'd find them a foreclosure. I would be the GC to fix it up for them, and then I would resell it. It was awesome. I mean, I was like a one man realtor general contractor. It was incredible. It was the best job ever.
You were happy as could be.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I loved it. I was making great money. I was making people happy. It was just amazing.
I enjoyed riding around in your car with you during those times. We were competitors,
correct.
But I'd spend days with you,
I'd
just
take
hanging
you around,
out.
show you the different ones. Like, oh, this is a house I'm doing for a doctor. This is a house I'm doing for a teacher. But anyhow, our houses stopped selling. We know what happened in leading up to the Great Recession, and then definitely through the Great Recession. So if we just would have been house flippers, our for sale signs would have stayed in the yard, and our prices would have continued to be dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped till we sold, until we would have lost a lot of money. If we had to sell the houses. But instead of selling the houses, we switched our for sale signs out for rent signs, and we started leasing houses. And I became a property manager, overnight.
Let me pause you there.
Yeah.
You were not over leveraged. Your clients, you really preached against letting them over leverage so that you could adapt.
Correct. Never over leveraged. It's a great point. But then we leased out a lot of those, all of those houses. I built a very large, rental portfolio through those times.
Yes, you did.
Wasn't cashing any checks, no checks. None of my clients were. I mean, you get some cash flow, here and there, but I'm coming out of a period where I was flipping all these houses and I was making good money, and then all of a sudden you're not making anything. But, and I want everyone to hear this, went to where I was not making any money, was paying down the debt aggressively on those houses. If I did have cash flow, it went to the debt. I paid them off, quickly. I got to where in 10 years I owned 25 homes free and clear that coming out of that Great Recession. So
millions of dollars of real
millions
estate.
of dollars, and it was easy. I mean, we just held the properties. We weren't taking money out of the properties. Weren't refining till we die and all this BS that you hear. We were conservative about it, and
accelerated debt pay down. That is the worst nightmare of people on TikTok. They would tell you are the dumbest person on the planet.
Yeah, and I'd tell them, well, I'm a millionaire. I by all accounts, I'm in the top 1% of wage earners,
right,
based off of the way I think, which is slow and steady and stay the course. So I don't know, if you want more than that, then, we're probably not the podcast for you. We're
right,
probably not the guys, so but if that were attractive to somebody, we can make it easy. Real estate does not have to be hard, but if you have to be in and out to do all this, I mean, we're not your guys. We're not your guys. If you think that people that save, are stupid, don't listen. I don't want you listening.
Yeah.
I don't want your comments, because I don't have time for it. But we've seen this work.
Unless your mind is open. If you think that way, but your mind is still open, we'd love to bring you over to the good side. The water's warm.
Maybe
I
probably still wouldn't like.
You
I
still
probably
don't want
still
'em?
wouldn't want them. You probably not.
Yeah,
I mean,
just kiss off.
I'm not. I'm not at a point in my life where
If they're
where I'm
young,
looking
though,
for-
we've got to
looking
save
for
some of
friends.
these youngsters.
I know. I'm totally joking.
Yeah, if you're set in your ways and you think that way, yeah, don't listen. If you're young and you think that way, listen to us for a while. Let us help you. Let us save you from what
It's so
you could get.
frustrating because we've hit a stride on social media and we're very gracious. We've gained a lot of followers and people are watching us and listening to us. And thank you all for making this happen for us. But sometimes late at night I go down and I read through some of these comments, and I've learned that you have to take it as comedic. You have to laugh at it or you're going to drive yourself crazy. But it's amazing, how many people living in their parents' basements want to lecture me on how to do this.
Right.
It's amazing, like, and the redneck in me wants to go down in their parents' basement and pull them out by their hair, and beat the crap out of them. But
your dad would have pulled them out of their basement by their hair and put them to work.
That's right. Absolutely.
He would have put them to work and said, listen, get off your keyboards and get to work. I think back to you and I when we were in our 20s. We were very similar in a lot of ways. We spent a lot of time drinking beers at bars, but we both...
Way too much time, but a lot of time.
But we both would end our days almost the same way. We would spend 3 to 4 hours every night working on the computer after having worked all day. So we would mix in some drinking, but we were just talking about how I would go home after being at the bars on Friday nights sometimes and spend 4 hours, looking up foreclosures and finding deals and doing all of that.
There's no way I could do that. It was either
you were all in.
It was either all I mean, like once I started, I couldn't stop.
I would go out. I could have 4 drinks, go home, and then work.
No, I would be if I was like in my younger days when I was getting into real estate, I'd work till midnight. Then have some beers, then be up at 8 o'clock the next morning, getting into it. But I don't know. It was a unique time, and we're talking about cyclical real estate here and how real estate is cyclical. It's interesting to talk about because I say it on here all the time. It's amazing how fast our real estate careers have just evaporated.
Sure.
Like we've been in this for a very long time, but we're talking about pre-recession days. Doesn't feel that long ago.
No.
I mean,
no,
I can't believe it. I mean, it's 18 years ago. Which
can let me put that in terms of a tip that people can use at home, which is time goes fast with real estate, faster than you think. And if you're willing to pay down your debt service on long-term cash flowing assets, you won't believe how quickly you can become a millionaire. You won't believe how quickly. And that's with doing the opposite of over leveraging. That's with under leveraging. That's being conservative and paying it down. Yeah, will you get the jet airplane? No, you won't have that. If you want to do that, then you can try leveraging everything and hope that the timing doesn't bite you in the ass. But if you want to do it conservatively, regardless of these market ups and downs, you can do it. And you can adapt along the way. You can always find value for long-term real estate investments. One of the ways we've adapted lately, for an example, so for the last 10 years, we could find foreclosures for much less than the cost to build a property. So you could buy a house that costs $100,000 to build for say $60,000, and we could put 20 grand into it, and we would have a almost brand new property by the time we're done with it for 80,000 that's worth 100. A lot of value there. So we were scooping those up for our clients for years and years. Mm-hmm. Well, the tide has turned a little bit. Values and prices have gone up to the point now where suddenly Clint and I are able to build brand new properties for less than their value, for less than their worth, and do that for our clients. So as an example, we're building 134 townhomes for our clients right now that we are the contractor building it for them. And they are building these for much less than the value that's in them. So we adapt depending on those markets, and you should too. But my point is that there is always value somewhere out there in the market. And if you are a long-term cash flow investor, which is what we strongly suggest, you can find value out there. So it's not all doom and gloom, But you have to be real about this. You have to admit that the markets change, that the markets go down, and you have to protect yourself for those down periods because you don't know what'll happen. You don't know if you'll have a job loss and your income will turn off for a while. And when that happens, maybe your tenants hit some hard times too, because that usually comes with the down economy. So you need to have some reserves to get through those bumpy periods. If you do this conservatively and the roadmap that we lay out for you, we promise you, you will get there. It's a little more conservative and slower, but boy, is it nice to sleep well at night and to have a nice balance sheet.
Or on the other hand, if you're looking for that Gulfstream, that, Ferrari, or that yacht, there is a douchebag guru out there on social media just waiting for you. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of them out there.
And he'll take your dollars so fast.
I think that's what makes us unique. And I know we're getting to the end of our show here, but we're not selling anything. We're not out there trying to say, you know what, if we can just get someone to listen to us, then maybe they'll buy our products. We're not selling our audience. We are literally giving you the expertise that we've had in a combined 40 years of being in this business. These gurus, they're all selling something, all of them. It's this guy that, I make fun of him quite a bit because he's always, pulling up in his 6-wheel car, and he's got this, he's a pretty big guy, and he's wearing like a
alpha male,
like a kid's medium shirt. It's and he's talking about physique competitions and stuff. Uh-huh. And he always ends everything with, if you have at least $150,000 in your 401k, IRA, or equity in your home, please join me on my private event this Saturday. I'm going to show you my 5 wealth building strategies. If you join that guy for his private event, your money is going to evaporate into oblivion. Do yourself a favor, get the kids in the backyard, some s'mores, make some s'mores with the money that you're going to blow, because you're going to get more enjoyment out of setting it on fire than you are, going to a guy like this. It's just laughable, some of the advice. Let's take your retirement account and invest with me. Let's take the equity in your home and invest with me. Don't ever have any cash in the bank. That's silly. Invest with me. I'm sick of it, man. It's but what crazy is people believe this, huh? Maybe I should drain my 401k and invest with this guy.
It's funny.
Maybe I should pull all the equity out of me and my wife and kids' home and invest with this douchebag wearing a $100 bill shirt.
Right.
It's got $100 bills all over it.
Uh-huh. He flies a jet. Why wouldn't you give him your money?
How crazy are these people? And people are like, oh, yeah. And then, we say something on social media. I'm getting fired up now. We say something on social media.
People just shit all over us.
One of the comments was, these guys don't get cash flow.
Yeah.
These guys don't get cash flow.
Right.
Are you serious?
Right.
Cash flow. But I'm going to invest with the orange D-bag here bro, invest. It's
people like to be a part of things, and he makes them feel like they're a part of things. You know what they're a part of? They're a part of his paying for his jet bill. They're a part of paying for the gas bills on all his vehicles. It's exciting. I think back to when I was in high school or college. And who was the guy on the yacht who had the infomercials at night?
Yeah.
Not Richard Sheets.
Carlton Sheets had one, but he wasn't as flashy. I know the guy.
It was an Asian guy.
Yes, and he had darker hair, kind of pulled back,
and he would
glasses.
be on the front of a yacht with girls surrounding him,
Correct.
selling real estate. You cash it out, 110% financing. It's the same things over and over. These clowns, people, they don't know better. There aren't a lot of people like us saying, hey, real estate's up and down, blah, blah, blah. There aren't a lot of realists out there. There weren't people like us before. And thankfully, because of things like podcasts and social media, maybe people like us with a normal message, with the reality, will start to catch more fire. Because these douchebags are costing middle America tons of dollars.
Do you have any idea what you're talking about?
I don't. I don't. I just need to follow one of these.
You don't understand cash flow. Do you?
I don't understand cash flow.
Oh, those guys don't understand cash flow.
I hate showing off wealth, but there's a big part of me that like wants me to post our bank accounts or something, like just a live view of our checking accounts, just
I don't know. It's just like I said, we're not selling anything.
Yeah.
We're not. This isn't a get rich quick scheme. We're not pushing some education seminar. If you want that, there's plenty of people out there for you. If you want sound real estate advice that doesn't have to be that difficult to do, you got to stay in it for the long term. That's what the Homeboys preach. But anyhow, we got a little fired up on the show. That is our show for today. Keep in mind, real estate is cyclical. That means that this elevator ride is not going to continue and continue and continue. There are ups and downs, and make sure you pay attention to it.
But you can make a lot of money along the way regardless. If you follow conservative, simple tips, and you stick with people who have made it through those kinds of times, we can show you the way. You'll be fine.
Keep watching the Homeboys. It's a revolution. Peace.
110% financing was a bit too much.
All right, I won't do that again. So
Turns out 110% financing was a bit too much.
who would have thought?
Not me. Turns out 110% financing was a bit too much.
That's just such good dialogue. All right, do it again, Scotty.
Turns out 110% financing was a bit too much.
Who would have thought?
Not me. Turns out 110% financing was a bit too much.
Who would have thought? So bad.
Turns out.
I can't do it. You're great at it, man. All right. All the way up, baby. It's never stopping. Here we go. Yeah. In a minute, honey. We're this is serious work. Serious work here.